I'm Dr. Sarah Goldstein, Professor of Biblical Studies at Jerusalem University. Today, we're embarking on a journey through time. We'll explore two pivotal moments in Judeo-Christian history, the first Passover and Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem. Let's begin our story in ancient Egypt, where the Israelites lived under the oppressive rule of Pharaoh. God, through Moses, had unleashed a series of plagues upon Egypt, each more devastating than the last. But Pharaoh's heart remained hardened, refusing to let the Israelites go. Then came the instruction for the final, most terrible plague. The Israelites were to take a lamb, slaughter it, and mark their doorposts with its blood. This act of faith and obedience would save them from the angel of death, who would pass over their homes. That night, a great cry arose in Egypt as the firstborn in every unmarked house died. Pharaoh finally relented, and the Exodus began. The Passover became a lasting ordinance for the Israelites. This foundational event shaped the identity of the Jewish people for millennia to come. Now let's fast forward over 1,000 years to the time of Jesus. Jesus and his disciples were preparing to celebrate Passover in Jerusalem. But before entering the city, Jesus paused and sent two of his disciples on a curious errand. He instructed them to go into the village and find a donkey tied there, along with her colt. This seemingly simple act was, in fact, the fulfillment of an ancient prophecy from Zechariah. Say to daughter Zion, "See, your king comes to you gentle and riding on a donkey, and on a colt, the foal of a donkey." As Jesus approached Jerusalem, word spread quickly of his arrival. People began to line the streets, laying down their cloaks and palm branches. The atmosphere was electric, filled with anticipation and hope. As Jesus rode into Jerusalem, the crowds erupted in jubilation.
Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord!
Hosanna means save us, a cry for deliverance and a declaration of faith. But not everyone welcomed Jesus with open arms. The Pharisees and Sadducees, the religious leaders of the day, were deeply troubled by this display. They saw Jesus as a threat to their authority and the established order. The parallels between the Passover story and Jesus' entry are striking. In both cases, we see acts of faith and obedience that lead to salvation. The Passover lamb's blood saved the Israelites from death in Egypt, and Jesus, often referred to as the Lamb of God, would soon offer himself as a sacrifice for all humanity. Both events mark the beginning of a journey, the Exodus for the Israelites, and Holy Week for Jesus and his followers. And both culminate in a celebration of freedom, Passover for the Jews, and Easter for Christians. As we reflect on these events, we're reminded of the rich tapestry of our faith history, a history that continues to shape our understanding of sacrifice, redemption, and hope. Whether you're a scholar, a believer, or simply curious about these pivotal moments in history, I invite you to dig deeper, to explore the texts, and to consider their enduring significance. For in these ancient stories, we often find timeless truths that speak to our lives today. Thank you for joining me on this journey through time. Until next time, Shalom.